Now, please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem, performed today by the combined glee clubs of the United States Military Academy and the United States Naval Academy, under the direction of Connie Chase. Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red bells bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the
All right, we're back deep in the forest. The dog is back with the old battle axe, the ex-wife. So now we can get out and do some real venturing. Get out with the lions and the tigers and the bears. Watching the world burn, watching the world burn. 16th, December 16th, 2024. Let's get into it. Of course, you see in the, by the way, that explosion that you saw, that was in Syria. I guess it was an ammo dump. Boy, it looked like a nuclear explosion, didn't it? Holy moly. It's been all over X, but I had to start the video with that. I mean, if you didn't know, Israel has literally blown the shit out of Syria. The ports are completely destroyed, so they won't be getting any sea activity. They've hit every military base. I don't think there's a single plane that'll fly left in Syria. As far as I know, they've left the cities alone unless there's military targets in there. So mainly they're just taking out the entire infrastructure of Syria. It's, I don't know, maybe you're for that. I don't know, it doesn't seem right to me. But anyway, you're looking above at the graphic because we got to start on the drones. and that's what I know about the drones. No, I'm just kidding. We got a little bit of work here on the drones I can talk about a little bit. First thing was Trump came out and he said, well, yeah, of course the government knows about the drones and they know where they're coming to and going from. He says, and then what the part that got me was he said, but I won't be traveling when the drones are flying.
First of all, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Can you comment on the drones that are flying around New Jersey and the ports? And it seems like the American people have a big disconnect.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster. want to know the truth. They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Bill, and will soon introduce it. I want to thank him for that idea. As many of you know, state and local law enforcement is precluded by law from taking more decisive action, which is why DOD must. They are the ones who have the ability and the authority to act. Congress, yes, and the president, yes, need to move quickly to expand state and local authorities' powers. But DOD has it right now. Sheriff Golden wrote me a few days ago requesting legislation to empower the state police to seriously protect at-risk persons and infrastructure, and if necessary, bring down a dangerous drone or drones. I am now drafting that bill and will soon introduce it. I want to thank him for that idea.
So that, and by the way, so that gets into the second half of the story, because we got to get serious about this now, is there's a guy, he came out, he's the CEO of a drone manufacturer, and he was talking about the drones and his speculation, and he says he knows the person, that there's probably some nuclear material or perhaps even a nuclear weapon or bomb that they're searching for with those drones, or something else they're trying to sniff out, and he said that's why they're flying at night. And anyway, the other thing is, if it was an alien invasion, I don't think they cut on their running lights. So for anybody filming planes and everything else. But let's watch some of his video now.
My name is John Ferguson. I'm the CEO of Saxon Aerospace here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military-grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast, and as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, but I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody. So, if you think it's bullshit, whatever, that's cool. I don't want to spread misinformation, as we know that there's a lot of that going around. But anyway, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay? We don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay? That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay? Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that come up missing here in the United States, and they felt like it was high probability that nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, you mostly do it during the day. The only reason why you would ever fly an aircraft, an unmanned aircraft at night, is if you're looking for something, whether it be a person or trying to smell gas. We have methane gas detection systems that can detect gas leaks in pipelines. You really wouldn't use thermal optics for trying to find gas leaks, just simply because the only way you're actually going to find a gas leak with thermal optics is if the gas leak is aggressive enough that it has a difference in temperature. Because thermal imaging, it creates a digital image based off the temperature variance. So whatever is different in temperature, it creates an image. Usually gas leaks so slow that it goes quickly into ambient before you can even see it. So we have special sensors that can detect gas leaks. We also have special sensors that can detect radioactive material. So with this gentleman that I had spoken with, who was trying to raise the alarm to try to get somebody in the government to say, hey, we need to work together to go try to find this nuclear warhead, none of that ever happened. They knew that warhead was on its way to the United States. That's all that ever came of it. Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm and raise awareness that there is a very deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now. It left Europe. Now it's gone. So my own guess, is that these drones are not nefarious in intent. If they are, they are, but I doubt it. But if they are drones, the only reason why they would be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. That's it. There's no other reason for a drone to be flying in the air other than to piss a bunch of people off at night. That's it. So, my belief is they're trying to smell something on the ground. Gas leaks, radioactive material, whatever. So, and do I think that they're coming up out of the ocean? No, I don't think so. Drones that are multi-copter type drones, not the fixed wing aircraft that look like regular airplanes, but the multi-copters, they only have so much battery life. They have hybrid versions that are gas powered with electric, but those can still only fly for a short period of time. There's no way in hell that any drone is going to go miles off the coast as a multi-copter and fly into the interior of the United States and do a bunch of work and then turn around and fly back. It's just physics will not allow that to happen. So these drones, I believe, are launched from a location that nobody knows, but I do believe that they're flying low enough that they're just trying to sniff the ground and try to find something. So again, I hate to be a pessimist or a guy that thinks, directly to the negative. However, I know as a professional, we build professional stuff for the military, you know, I believe that they're actually out there trying to smell something that's very important. So anyway, let me know what you think of this video. I'm not trying to gaslight. I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just trying to let people know that this is a serious deal. It's only serious for what the potential could be, you know, or for what the potential is. You know, there's a lot of them out there. They're flying all over. They're flying low. They're flying at night. There's no reason for it other than to smell something. So anyway, God bless. I hope you all have a wonderful Merry Christmas. And let me know what you think of the video. Thank you.
The part that gets me is the Democrats. They think you can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. So they won't come out and tell anybody what the hell's going on, which is, you know, a point of anxiety. But I guess, you know, imagine the panic if people in New Jersey and New York thought there was a nuclear bomb that they're searching for. I mean, it could create quite a stir. So, you know, maybe that's why they're not coming out and saying anything. The next one was the Democrats. They continue in their evil ways. This is a congressman. I'll put his name up above. And he talks about the fact that they just sent more of our taxpayer money to foreign countries. You know, that's why America first, right? And Democrat, ask a Democrat, why isn't America last? Why do you want I mean, you Democrats, some of them pay taxes, I guess, you know. Why do you want your tax money going to foreign countries? Why don't you want it to take care of your friends, your buddies, your neighbors, your cities?
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, just leaving the house floor. It's raining, and I can go this way and do my video and not be hassled. Hey, we just passed the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. I voted against it. There's $500 million in there, literally, of foreign aid. And that's kind of what y'all voted in such large numbers against. Tired of us being everywhere. They allow you to travel for abortions, or they, you know, the paid or whatever to move you around so you can get that. There's just the transgender language. I was told by a couple of attorneys on the House floor was poorly written. I think it had some holes in it. And to make it all matters worse, $9 billion new dollars. Send it over the Senate. It comes back with all that added on. You remember, the Pentagon has not passed an audit. They're on their 7th or 8th one that they haven't passed. We got to do better in this. This is not what you all voted for. And you have members, you have family members that are lobbyists on this stuff. I mean, it is just totally awful. Anyway, we'll keep fighting. But y'all got to hold us accountable. Thank y'all so much for sitting here.
Why do you keep voting for these people? I mean, and then, of course, Mitch McConnell. My God, I swear that guy, I think that, you know, if he doesn't die in Congress, I mean, you know, I'm not saying I wish him dead. Don't get me wrong. I don't want the FBI knocking on my door, but I'm just saying he's going to die of old age. I mean, you know, if it's going to start falling down, breaking his hip and everything else, he should be in a nursing home. That's what I'm saying, being taken care of. Get with your, does he have grandchildren? I don't even know. You know, same with Nancy Pelosi. We've talked about her in previous videos. But anyway, so that's, you saw that video about him talking about the foreign aid. So then we get into the next story was, this is a picture, you're looking at it now, of Gaza. And Israel has just completely leveled the place. So, I mean, it's sad. It's very, very sad. So, anyway, if I get some other videos on Gaza that aren't too bloody and with kids with their heads blown off or their legs blown off or women wailing, holding on to a bleeding child, I'll try to post those so that maybe, you know, people like Gorka or some of these right-wing hosts will actually do anything. I wanted to defend Chris Rock for just a minute. He's been getting some blowback. He made a joke about that United Healthcare guy that was shot in the back. And, you know, if you listen to the joke, he came out at first and he was, saying, this was completely wrong, should have never happened. And then he came out, but he says sometimes drug dealers get shot, and that was the joke. Whether that's appropriate or not, I don't know, but I will tell you this. Humor is meant to be offensive. If it doesn't offend somebody, then it's not a good joke. It's not humor. Now I'm sure he didn't want the guy to get shot. He's a comedian. He's trying to make light of a bad thing. So if you're going to get offended, especially liberals, to them, like I said, my toasters are racist, but they don't have any sense of humor. And so, now the right-wing commentators, it seems like they don't have any sense of humor. Okay, so jokes, I'm sorry, man. Get a backbone. People, humor is meant to be offensive. All right? So we got 2 videos out of the way there. I wanted to promote what's going to be coming in the video. Right now, silver is 30.73, and SD Bullion's running a sale on the Sword of Truth coins. I don't know if the Maple Leafs are still on sale. If the Maple Leafs are still on sale, pick those first, because they're both $1.99. And a Maple Leaf is considered legal tender, whereas a Sword of Truth coin is just a round, And so you always want legal tender rather than a round. But what I'm going on is I found an excellent thread on investing. Now, right now, you can't look up, because the Democrats have totally destroyed all of the information that, we used to get that was legit on corporations, the PE ratio, the price to earnings, the insider trades. I think you can still trust those where you can get the information. But most of the numbers around companies now are not legit. And so, but I think once Trump gets back in office and we get somebody at the SEC that's going to be monitoring, putting out real data rather than fake data, it's going to be a good time for you to go ahead and start doing your homework and buying stocks. And so we're going to read that whole thread, and it's going to teach you all about investing. I think the one thing I didn't see is one of the like I said, one of the factors I rely heavily on is insider activity. So when you see somebody like a Warren Buffett, by the way, as you know, he's got, a $345 billion sitting on the side. He's waiting for the stock market to crash for sure. And but what I'm saying is, when you have a CEO of a company selling a hell of a lot of stock like Bezos did, I don't know if Musk sold any, maybe not, or you've got any of the big guys. That's a great indicator of what you should be doing, that you should be offloading some of your position, or at least getting back, especially, I always like that average. Take enough profit that you're basically playing with the bank's money, or, or the casino's money. And you know what that is. When you win at the casino and you came in with $100 and you won $100, now you're playing, and then put that $100 back in your pocket, and then just play with that 100 until you're back down to zero on that 100, and you're not out anything. So, right, if you've already made a ton of money, go ahead and sell some and play with the casino's money, and just get ready. Keep your powder dry, and we'll get into that investment video here in just a minute. And then also I wanted to promote Outdoors with Kirk on Rumble. We're going to have a hell of a hiking video coming up. We're going to do Sunny Hill West. I've never done that before in a video, and I think you're going to love it. It's a hell of a, it looks like a really nice area. The last time I went, it was too wet to get around there. I was just after that tropical storm, so I imagine it should be hikeable now. We're going to spend a whole day there, and that's going to be a hell of a video coming up. Outdoors with Kirk on Rumble. Well, let's just get a nature video. Two more things to talk about here. One was, I'm sure you know by now that there was a shooting at a Christian school in Wisconsin. I can't remember the name of the school, but anyway, how many times do I have to keep saying that the schools should all have armed security. Okay, and my recommendation is hire veterans. Okay, I mean, of course, evaluate them, make sure they're okay. You know, some of them do have, you know, some probably mental difficulties after what they went through in combat or whatever. But, you know, a good squared away veteran that needs a job, I'm sure he would love to be a security guard at a school and would probably work for pretty darn cheap. You know, you don't have to have private security. You know, just get tired of it. I get tired of hearing it. You know, get your armed security in there and we won't have these problems. The other story is the Democrats have come out, proposed legislation to do away with the Electoral College before Trump can get into office. That's who the Democrats are. So they want everything decided by the popular vote. But I would point out Trump did get the popular vote, but with all the illegal aliens in the country, I assume that in the future they're thinking that they will be able to get the popular vote. So, but we definitely don't want to do away. I mean, because then Chicago, New York City, Dallas, Texas, all your big cities would decide all the elections, and the people and the rest of the other 98% of the country would have no say in whatever politicians get elected unless there is an electoral college, and that's why it was put in place. I hope that you can understand that. The other thing, of course, that the Democrats are doing, and I'm sure you've heard, they're selling the border wall before Trump can get in there for pennies on the dollar. And as Trump pointed out in his speech today, he said, for me to replace that wall that they're selling as scrap, he says it's going to cost twice as much as what it cost originally when I purchased it, you know, before the Democrats cheated and stole the 2020 election. So, you know, but think about that. So that's your taxpayer money. Democrats don't give a shit about America. They don't give a shit about Americans. I don't understand it. I keep going on. I mean, why in the hell a woman, when he just pardoned a bunch of pedophiles and rapists, why a woman wants to vote Democrat? Somebody, please, please, question a Democrat for me and just give me their response. Nobody ever gives me a response from a Democrat. I just want somebody to leave a comment, preferably at Rumble. Like I said, I don't get my comments at YouTube. Okay, YouTube censors everything and has me buried in their algorithm. Anyway, The Burn on Rumble. The Burn on Rumble. All right, I forgot I haven't given you an update on Ukraine in this video. The first staggering number, and I don't know where he got his number from, but Larry Johnson said that I think it was 12,000 Ukrainians have been killed. I want to say it was the last week or the last 2 weeks. Either way, that's a staggering number. You know, as McGregor always said, that, you know, it's always towards the end of the conflict that the most people die, you know, just like in Germany during World War II. You know, more Germans died probably in 1945 than maybe the other 4 years combined. You know, it was a slaughter. But that's the first thing that I wanted you to know. The second thing is the Germans, I mean, the Russians are nearing the Petrovsk, and that's a major logistics hub. I think it's in the Donbass region. Anyway, when that falls, which they're predicting, it'll be well before January 20th. So at least it'll fall underneath the Democrat administration, and I hope they get all the blame for, you know, for that, wasting what, $250 billion of American taxpayer money just so we could kill over 1 million Ukrainians in a war that has nothing to do with the United States whatsoever. It's just their globalist agenda. You know, that's why they did what they did to Syria. They want to get in there and balkanize those resources because they're imperialist. You know, they're following in the footsteps of the British Empire. Unfortunately, we're going to fall just like the British Empire did. So I don't know if we'll get to steal those resources from Syria or not. And we're certainly not going to get to steal from Russia because they're not going down. Anyway, if I can find, there's a lot of posts on X where Putin gave, I want to say a speech, but it was more like an address to, I guess, the kind of the Russian equivalent of Congress.
Key results of our work in 2014 and outline the further goals to develop and strengthen our armed forces. This year has been a landmark year in the special military operation, thanks to the courage and professionalism of our warriors, the heroic labor of those who work in the defense industry, and thanks to the wide popular support, we have the strategic initiative. 189 various localities have been liberated this year. I would like to thank our heroes, the soldiers and officers who fight courageously and with utmost determination. The personnel of the Russian National Guard, the Defense Ministry, and other entities and units which carry out their missions dutifully, whatever they are, sacrificing their lives for the victory and for our safety and security. We will always remember the lives of those who have sacrificed them for us. And we need to take care of their families and children. And their children are our children. As I have said time and again, we should never forget about this. And I invite you to honor their memory with a minute of silence.
And he was talking to them, and if I can find a translated version, because the ones that I've seen, it's not translated. So you'd just be sitting there listening to him speak Russian. and unless you speak Russian, it'd be a pretty boring video to watch. But if I find a translation, we'll put it right here. All right, so hopefully I found something translated. But anyway, the gist of the speech, and I want you to get out of that, is what Putin's saying. You know, if we don't sue for peace soon, what Russia's going to keep what they take. Now, understand that all the territory that Russia has taken is bathed in Russian blood, and of course Ukrainian blood too. But they're not going to give it back. You know, it's kind of like in the United States. You know, as we marched our way west back in the day, we never gave the land back after we took it. You know, so. Putin is not going to, he's not going to give the land back. And that's what he was saying in that speech is like, you know, the longer we keep fighting, the more Ukraine is going to give up and the more the terms, you know, well, the terms we already know. No Ukraine and NATO, they have to be neutral. They're going to keep the 4 regions where the Russian, you know, the people speak Russian, and that's where it stands right now. But if they keep going, they might take Odessa, and that's going to landlock Ukraine. But right now, I think Putin is saying in that speech, he's saying, look, if we can get a peace deal on our terms, you know, which I think they're very reasonable terms, you know, and also they want a more, you know, a more comprehensive agreement on security. Like we should agree not to put intermediate range nuclear missiles in Europe, for example, just like we had under Reagan. That would be something that, you know, we would talk about with those European puppets in tow. But anyway, that was the gist of it all. I just thought I'd give you the latest, but I thought the war was going to be over a year ago, but I think once Petrovsk falls, and if you got 12,000 Ukrainians dying that quick in a week or two, every 2 weeks, I don't see how this thing lasts till January the 20th. I just don't see it. Anyway, I could be wrong.
The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appeared to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. The belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that the process is rigged. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? To the Democratic Party. You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right to make the case that the right had a monopoly on insidious, evil tendencies, corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same shit. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right instead of them.